The following video addresses a very important question. What if you're born in a different country that wasn't predominantly Christian, or you weren't born into a Christian home? Would you be following a different God? I think ultimately the question is, what makes Jesus so unique among all other gods or all other options out there? Let's watch and find out.
They invited to India.
Hey, Godfrey.
I assume that you're born in the States?
I was born in New Jersey. If that's still a part of the United States, yes.
Seems like you're probably born in a Christian home.
I was brought up in a Catholic home. Yes.
Well, in India we have lots of religions, and Hindus and Muslims, particularly the Hindus, they kind of worship almost 1 million gods.
Yes.
So you were speaking about atheism, speaking about theism.
Yes.
And I'm okay with that. But you connected atheism and theism with Jesus. Now, if you were born in India and your name was Ram, would you connect that with Krishna or with Ganesha?
Okay, well, excellent question. I'm trying to... No, don't go away, Godfrey. Don't go away. Because I need clarification. All right? My question is, does the evidence show that Jesus was a human being that came to earth, predicted and accomplished his own resurrection from the dead? That's my question. And if he did, then it seems to me whatever he teaches is true. And if he taught that the Hebrew Old Testament was true, I'm accepting what he says on his authority because he's proven to be a divine being by himself resurrecting from the dead. Now, you could say, well, why not Hinduism? Or why not Buddhism? Or some of these other worldviews? Well, not that Hinduism or Buddhism are teaching things that are false all the time. I think every world religion has some truth in it. But if it differs from what Jesus says, then it would be wrong. The Hindus, the Buddhists, the Muslims may have many things right. But if they differ from what Jesus says, they appear to me to have it wrong. Not on my authority, on his.
I was just asking, in case you were born in a Hindu home,
yes,
are you still speaking what you're speaking today in the name of Jesus? Because if you speak to Hindu people about Jesus, they say Jesus came 2,000 years back.
Yes.
Their gods came like 5,000 years back. So Jesus is a pretty new God compared to that God.
Oh, I would agree, but I would say, what evidence do you have that the gods you're talking about that were further back are actually the true gods?
And the same would go with Jesus.
Well, that's the question. That's why I'm trying to go through evidence here, maybe inadequately.
Technically, my question was, I'm okay with there being a God.
Yes.
But my question is, why would you be specific to connect that with Jesus?
Because I think the evidence shows that there really was a man named Jesus.
I think it's important to understand that when it comes to the Christian faith, a lot of people think, okay, we just have faith and it's the God of the gaps argument. We're just believing because we don't understand. But it's not a leap of faith as you would think. It's more of us looking at the evidence. What is the evidence? When you look at the Bible, it is an historical document. And looking at an historical document, we can verify if things really existed. Jesus was not some sort of fairy tale or some sort of myth. He historically existed. He was a person that existed over 2,000 years ago. And we can look at the documents or what the document says or what the manuscript says. And a lot of these things contain eyewitnesses. So it's not a leap of faith. It is faith that is based on evidence. Faith based on evidence. Okay, let's continue and see what Frank Turek says.
2,000 years ago, who walked the earth and performed miracles and predicted and accomplished his own resurrection, because the evidence for that is quite good. And you have people who were once Jews converting completely to this new belief system and paying for it with their lives to say this really happened.
But don't you think the evidence was also that Buddha lived on earth? And Krishna and all the others also lived there. They have stories.
Oh, they have stories, but the difference between Krishna and Buddha and these folks and Jesus is Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life.
How do we know that's true?
By the evidence. That's what we've been looking at. Obviously, I went through just a little bit of it this afternoon, or this evening.
These guys also have evidence. So they have a story, and they have a thesis, and the Christians have a story and a thesis.
Right.
How would we differentiate between both or decipher what is true?
Oh, I agree with you, Godfrey. What you ought to do is you ought to look at the evidence from all of them and see which way the evidence points and then make your decision. But just because somebody was born in a particular place doesn't mean that their belief is either true or false. In fact, Richard Dawkins often makes this argument. He's an atheist. He says, well, if you were born in Saudi Arabia, you'd be a Muslim. If you were born in England, where I am, you'd be a Christian. And he doesn't really realize, number one, that doesn't make his belief true or false, or their belief true or false. He also doesn't seem to realize that his own assertion is disproven by his own experience. Here he is, an atheist in a Christian country, right? He's trying to say, if I was born in another place, I'd be something else. Well, he's going against the prevailing view in his culture that Christianity is true.
So like last question is, you're friend and you converted atheism to theism with Jesus. Let's say Mr. Ramakrishna had a second session and he converted atheism, did satisfying after a session. How do you relate to Mr. Ramakrishna? How do you defend your faith?
Well, I would have to see the evidence, and I didn't relate that Jesus was God before establishing that God existed. That's why I went through the evidence that a theistic God exists, a spaceless, timeless, immaterial, powerful, moral, personal, intelligent creator, right? So from that point on, if that God exists, then miracles are possible. And if he does miracles through Jesus, and we have good eyewitness testimony for that, then I think that's good evidence that whatever Jesus teaches is true, and I'm going to go with what he says.
The reason why I asked the question is because I stayed in India and born out of that.
Yes.
And I faced all these. By the way, I have an Austin. I'm just wanting to find out you.
Oh, I see. Okay. Thank you, Godfrey. God bless you.
That was a great response by Frank Turek. And when you're looking at something that's evidence-based or trying to find out what is true, we must realize that truth by nature is exclusive. There can't be many truths, there can't be our truth, it has to be the truth. And I believe that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. If you like what you're saying, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. To see more great videos like this, guess what? I have one right here. You can click on it and watch this now.